Doom Eternal is the sequel to the reboot of the sequel of the first two games, but also ignores the other reboot, Doom 3, which isn't the sequel. Jesus, there really should be a general convention on game franchise naming. Then Bethesda would probably go all Apple and just fucking ignore it. Doom Eternal continues the 2016 reboot's formula of large levels, interspersed with intense arena-style demon slaughterfests, armed with a dizzying array of progressively more powerful weaponry set to a pounding heavy metal soundtrack. It improves only on the soundtrack part. Fans of the 2016 Doom will find this a familiar experience, but also a flawed one. Maybe tainted is a better word to use, because it looks the same, it plays pretty much the same and has all the trappings, but it's a worse game. Why? The short answer is Bethesda. The long answer is the obsession with cramming in as much hashtag content into a game without any thought of how it's going to actually fit, also a key facet of Bethesda games, isn't such a good idea. We've seen this before with Bethesda games, with the Fallout series. They score big in the initial reboot, then lose it on the sequel trying to cram in as much shit as possible. It's on these desperate quests for filler that they lose sight of why the previous game was so successful, their focus. Fallout 3 in New Vegas had its focus on the writing and the storylines, which is why it's a vastly more rewarding playthrough than the baffling slog that was 4. 4 was just so bloated. I mean, was anybody really thinking, well, you know what would make Fallout 3 even better? Agriculture. Gone a bit off the point, but the same lack of focus due to bloating occurs in Doom Eternal because they're so desperate to make the game so much cooler. 2016 Doom's arenas were perfectly balanced to provide the ideal point between a stern challenge that required the player to pay full attention and mindless gory fun. Doom Eternal has chucked all that out the window by just cramming ever more demons in. This means you've got almost no room to manoeuvre a lot of the time. You're just forced to run laps around the tiny areas, assuming you don't get stuck in a step or a piece of wall or try to pass within 3 feet of a fucking demon. This means that unlike 2016 Doom, where the fights were pitched battles with you reacting sublimely to whatever the game threw at you, Eternal has you simply play the fights to the point where the areas get so crowded you can't do anything else but die, and then replay it to try and avoid what caused the crush in the first place. It's carnage by rote almost. But fuck it, we're Bethesda, so more demons are cool. Your ammo management also feeds into this. The system of the chainsaw attack refilling your ammo returns. However, the sheer amount of extra demons to kill has meant that the fodder demons need to constantly respawn until you've butchered all of the larger ones. This means that the more difficult encounters basically turn into run and gun item harvesting until you're strong enough to stop legging it endlessly and fight back. Again, rather than honing the combat skill needed to react to whatever the game presents, the emphasis is now on learning the level design by heart, so you can just run it to farm items from the smaller demons, whilst trying to whittle away at the larger ones. This means vastly more chainsaw and glory kills, but that's okay, because they're cool. I suppose what the last 2 points highlight is that what's been left behind in the mad dash for more hashtag content is the 2016 Doom sense of subtlety and restraint. Now I understand asking for restraint in a game where you can reach into a demon's body and pull his chest cavity part with your bare hand seems like a bit of a fucking futile enterprise, but the 2016's Dooms has restraint. It's got subtlety. The combat sections were tense, fraught shootouts. With the combat mechanics pared down to just a handful of basic concepts, the game could supercharge them without losing any sense of flow and without overloading the player or the game mechanic. In Eternal, because there's just so many fucking demons, a lot of the time you'll be reduced to just running and dodging around the arenas, hoping to find out where the large demons portal in so that, if you die, you'll know where to direct all your heavy weapons. There's no, let's see what they throw at me now and I'll kill it. It's more, let's hope I see what they throw at me now and I'll kill it next time round. The demons themselves have had a bit of a facelift as well. There are some newer models, but all the old guard are still there. The Cacodemons, Mancubi and Pain Elementals are all present and accounted for, alongside the now ubiquitous Revenant Demon. There's only a few new additions, and they're quite hit and miss. The hits are the Arachnotron, the Archvile and the Doom Hunter. Serious misses are the Whiplash, the Tentacle and the Carcass, but nothing Nothing beats the absolute travesty of a demon that is the fucking Marauder. It could quite possibly be the worst designed enemy in gaming fucking history, I'm not joking. Honestly, this section of the review was written last because I was trying to give myself time to rack my brains to think of an enemy from any game that I played that was as poorly balanced as this one, and I really can't do it. Honestly, please leave any suggestions below in the comments because I need help here. It's an enemy that seems like it was designed by an 11-year-old who's just gotten into his brother's stash of monster and has now been tasked with creating the concept of a demon that will piss off as many people as possible. He's got a super shield that blocks everything, and he can teleport around the place, and he's got a laser axe that shoots lasers, and he can shoot a shotgun instantly, and he can summon a wolf, but he can only be hit when his eyes go green. I really fucking hate it when designers do this bullshit. The Marauder completely goes against every bit of flow the game has been trying to set up till that point. Now we've this engine of pure irritation, and I'm serious when I say whoever greenlit this enemy needs to lose their fucking job. They don't have any idea what they're doing. Another speed bump to the flow of the game is the fact that they now want Doom to be a full-on platformer, complete with a fucking terrible swimming section. Now while some of these sections are kind of fun to traverse through, they completely kill any kind of momentum. It's going through one of these sections when some press release quotes started coming back to me, the chief one being, Doom Eternal is going to be twice as long as Doom. And then it twigged with me, oh, this is how they're doing it. They're not doing it with more combat or an expanded story section, or they're doing it with this, leapfrogging from one fucking wall to another and swimming through radioactive waste for just no reason. The loss of subtlety also extends to the storyline and the game progression. Now Bethesda games don't exactly have a great track record when it comes to story continuity between games, hence why most of their game franchises are just a bunch of disconnected titles strung along the same universe. But holy shit does Doom Eternal really take the fucking biscuit. There's literally not one single strand of story that connects the two games together other than see demon, kill demon. The 2016 storyline of an unscrupulous energy company using a portal to hell to mine an unlimited source of energy isn't exactly original, and the additional subplot of the power play between two executives, with one bargaining with hell to allow an invasion and the other using you as the ace up the sleeve in case that happens, isn't really any more original, but they were very well told. The plot didn't have much extra, meaning it could be tightly focused. In Doom Eternal, you're introduced to half a dozen new story concepts within the first 40 minutes, plus the delivery of these concepts smacks of a complete lack of any thought to the fact that none of them are connected in any way to the plot of the previous game, which occurred supposedly just minutes before this game started. They just dropped them in and expect you to roll with it. Kill the 3 Hell Priests. Wait, who? Who are these guys? They weren't in the first game. They served the Khan Maker. Who the fuck is that? The leader of the Maker Angels. What? Who are they? None of this was in the first game. Oh, they're invading Earth now. What? Earth's being invaded? When did this fucking happen? I just got off Mars. Welcome to the Fortress of Doom. I'm sorry, what? When the fuck did I get my own floating castle fortress? You were the last of the Night Sentinels, an ancient order of alien warrior. Wait. I'm a what now? I'm a former member of an elite alien military unit? Since fucking when? Why wasn't any of this mentioned in the first game? 2016 Doom had a great little backstory about you being imprisoned in a sarcophagus because your last rampage through hell in Doom 64 was so brutal that the demons were basically too terrified of you and they had to lock you away. Why ruin that with this ancient alien army bullshit? The in-game lore, which provided some nice colour commentary in 2016 Doom, has now been given a lot more emphasis, to the point where if you don't read any of it, you'll probably have no fucking clue what's going on at any point, ever. From flavour text to chief narrative source without any further thought or effort put in. This is most likely due to the fact that you never speak with a human NPC throughout the entire game and only even interact with one once. In order to balance out the lack of any outside personalities, the choice was made here to try and give Doomslayer himself his own one, and it failed miserably. His grunts and sparse sentences make him come off as someone with a severe learning disability rather than an engine of rage and destruction. I found it quite amusing that, in trying to flesh out the Slayer by giving him a face, a voice and more backstory, they wound up making him even more hollow because his face is generic, he never says anything worthwhile, and his backstory is laughably poor. Plus, he's even less of a personality than he was in the fucking first game. In 2016 Doom, the Slayer reacted to every mission briefing by hilariously smashing the screen or the console mid-sentence and then blowing the shit out of everything regardless of whether or not he was asked to do that in the first place. This gave him the silent, malevolent air of a badass. In Eternal, you do everything you're told, as you're told to do it, when you're told to do it. There's no rebellion, there's no fight, there's no sense of the defiance that the sparse story keeps insisting is a core tenet of his character. Look, for all I've shit all over this game, it's still worth the cash you'll shell out for it. The music's exceptional. If you're a metal fan, you'll be looking forward to the release of the soundtrack for this for sure. And even if you're not, it'll suit the action perfectly enough that you won't care. The action itself is really good. It's still, despite the flaws, quite the thrill ride whenever you blast through an arena section. The deaths are very gory and the whole thing runs quite well. It's just not as good a game as what came before. It's not that it doesn't take risks, it makes all the wrong decisions. In fact, if this were the first game and 2016 Doom was the second game, I'd be a lot happier about where this reboot franchise is heading. Because, based on its actual trajectory, this franchise is heading straight to hell. Only, it's not going to be the one doing all the ripping and tearing.